Good morning. Just for the record, I'll be chairing the matters for the day. Justice Ray Miller has recused herself for personal reasons, and Commissioner Stovall has recused himself for professional reasons. And also, we have a commissioner who is going to join us via Zoom, Mrs. Binns. And Counsel, if you start the matters of the day, if you don't mind.
Morning, Chairman, Commissioners, witnesses, all persons present. My apologies for the late start. We had some administrative matters attending to, and we were attending to them, Chairman. The matter for today is claim number 039, the Tiart Darrell case. The claim is in respect of the estate of John Darrell, land which the Heron Bay Primary School occupies. In brief, though I give no evidence, I just indicate that the applicant alleges that the role of the government is such that they wish to make a claim, and their claim dates back to as far as 1953. Almost 70 or a little over 70 years. The applicants are represented today by 4 members of the family who have descendants of John Darrell. I'm going to ask that the witnesses are sworn or affirmed, as the case may be. If for any reason, because of religious or other reason, a witness may not wish to swear on the Bible, the witness may be permitted to affirm, to speak the truth. May the witnesses be sworn or affirmed. Might I just indicate also, Mr. Chairman and members, and to the witnesses, I'm advised that based on the inclement weather conditions and that the conditions may deteriorate, we just want to keep that at the forefront of our minds because it may affect the pace at which we go today.
Yes, Councillor, we're appreciative of the weather conditions, and should the weather get inclement, we'll make the decisions then. And I'm sure being Bermudian, we understand what Bermuda weather brings you. And just for the witnesses' comfort, you may remove your mask. I mean, you are in a bubble, so that you can be heard clearly. And take your time and you give your name and when you're sworn, and also when you give your evidence, so we can hear you clearly and record what you say.
I'm going to ask that the first witness to be sworn, this is Bennett I'm sorry. Cynthia Bennett Fishington, that she's allowed to sit, to affirm. I think at her age she has earned the right to sit and not to have to stand to be affirmed.
Yes.
Have her raise her right hand, please. Just a minute. The microphone is not picking up. Just a minute.
I do solemnly
and
and sincerely affirm that
Sorry. Just have her state I, Cynthia Bennett Fishington, and then continue.
I, Cynthia Bennett Fishington,
I do solemnly and sincerely affirm
I do solemnly and
sincerely affirm
sincerely
I, Nathan Darrow, do solemnly affirm that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Excuse me. So I think I'm gonna declare because there's a word missing here. Chairman, I realized from my recollection the affirmation, the word declare is not there, so I was just inserting it. It properly should be declare and affirm, but I've just asked that.
Do solemnly, I, Haley Tiart, do solemnly and sincerely declare, affirm that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I, Nathan Darrow, do solemnly and sincerely declare, affirm that the evidence
By way of the matter being televised and the intent to, as they deem appropriate, enter an appearance at the appropriate time if necessitated.
Yeah, Council, could you give us just a small summary of why that is necessary?
Well, in respect of the the government was instrumental in the position that the claimants find themselves now, meaning that they have been dispossessed of land. And for that reason, I think it prudent that a member of the Attorney General's chambers or the Solicitor General's chambers is present to hear the evidence that is to be led.
And you're indicating that they are connected electronically?
So I've been advised, and they intend to, as they deem appropriate, be present in person.
Thank you. Thank you, Counsel.
Welcome. Chairman, I also would ask, I'm going to start the process with the witness Cynthia Bennett Fishington, but I have been advised, and I verily believe it to be true, that Cynthia Bennett Fishington is visually impaired. I am going to ask, however, that the statement which
Person who's going to lead the evidence on
who is speaking at each time, so the record, when produced, the transcript will reflect the person who gave evidence.
Thank you, Counsel.
I'm just going to have the statement which was signed by Ms. Cynthia Bennett Fishington handed to Ms. Tiart. Now, just before we read it, could you state your name, madam?
Haley Tiart.
I'm going to ask you to speak into the microphone, or probably could turn. No, you. The statement of Cynthia Bennett Fishington. You have that statement there with you?
Yes.
Cynthia Bennett Fishington. How are you related to her?
She is my great aunt, so I'm her
Your-
great niece.
Your great aunt and your great niece. Thank you. What is your mother's name?
Judy Tiart.
Thank you. Now, you have a signed statement of Cynthia Bennett Fishington there with you.
Yes.
It was signed by Cynthia Bennett Fishington in your presence.
Yes.
Um,
Sorry. It was witnessed by Carlton Adams.
Well, okay, but just before we go there, well, thank you. She had signed a statement, and it had then been witnessed by Mr. Carlton Adams, correct?
Yes.
And this morning she signed a copy of that statement in your presence, however.
Yes.
Thank you. Prior to the statement being signed this morning in your presence, you read the contents to her. Did you read over the statement to her?
Nathan Darrow read the statement to her in full.
Okay. And Nathan Darrell, who is he to you?
He is my cousin.
Your cousin. And where is he?
To the right of me.
To the right of you. Thank you. Could you just let me just position a microphone in front of Cynthia Bennett Fishington? Is it Mrs. Fishington? Mrs. Fishington?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The statement was read to you by Mr. Darrell,
Nathan Darrow.
and you understood what was read to you,
Yes.
and you then signed it.
Yes, I did.
You would wish your grand niece, Miss Tiart, to read the statement on your behalf?
Thank you, yes.
Okay, thank you. You could just move the microphone back. You may go ahead. Can I just ask you to read from the very top where it says statement of witness to the end? Thank you.
Okay. Statement of witness. Statement of Cynthia Bennett Fishington. Date of birth, the 10th. That's all. Thank you. September the 10th, 1947. Address 23 Rocky Wall Drive, Sands, Bermuda.
Don't leave the phone number out, please.
Okay. Occupation or employer, retired. This statement consists of 2 pages, each signed by me. It is true to the best of my knowledge and belief, and I make it knowing that if it is tendered in evidence, I shall be liable to prosecution if I have willfully stated in it anything which I know to be false or do not believe to be true. Dated the 22nd day of January 2021. Signed, Cynthia Fishington. Signature witnessed by Carlton Adams. Statement.
Just before you go
Yes.
further.
Sorry.
So, Chairman, I just asked that this document be tendered as an exhibit, exhibit CF1.
Yes, statement of Cynthia Bennett Fishington, as read by Hallie Tiart, be tendered in evidence as exhibit TS1.
CF.
CS1.
CF. F. F.
C as in cat, 1.
F.
And this F, sorry. Charlie Foxtrot.
Thank you.
Yes.
You may proceed, madam.
I am the above named person and I live at the address given alone. My children are married and live elsewhere. I am one of the children of George Darrow. My father owned land in Southampton Parish, and it was a very large piece of land. My father was a pilot. He worked on the ferry. When he stopped working on the ferry, he came home and worked in the yard as a stone cutter. He also had gardens on his land. I remember that people used to steal from his gardens. I can remember from when I was a little girl how people went about stealing my father's land. He would put proven stakes, and people would take the stakes up. The people who were removing stakes put down by my father to work the boundaries of his land were Gaius Powell, the parish vestry person, and Wycliffe Stubble. This happened more than once, and on one occasion, they pushed my father away and he pushed them back. My brothers, Leroy and John, both of whom have passed, saw this happen, and they related it back to my mother, and I was next to my mother and I could hear it all. I have remembered from time until the present. It is of great importance to me.
Counsel, I know it's early stages, however, is there any indication that adverse notice will be sent to these persons or their descendants who are named, persons named at this point?
Well, not at this stage, Chairman. Not at this stage, but there are some other persons who will be named in respect of the estate of E.T. Richards. They would, an adverse notice could be, or ought to be sent to the estate of E.T.
I
Richards.
just wish to make a note at this point,
Certainly.
and it may continue.
Okay. My father was not allowed to pay tax on all of his land. They only allowed him to pay tax on a part of it. Whoever it was that was in charge of collecting taxes is who I'm speaking of. This is something that my mother and father told me about. I know that my father wanted to give E.T. Richards, the lawyer, the deeds to his property to hold because people used to come to our house to search. My father found 2 of them in the house. They said they were lost and he took them up to Turtle Hill. When they were there, they pulled a gun on him and he got away. My father decided after that to give the deeds to the lawyer, E.T. Richards, to hold so that they would be safe. My mother did not want the deeds to the land to be given to Mr. Richards, but my father trusted him and gave him the deeds to hold anyway. Mr. Richards was married to my father's cousin, and so my father trusted him. Years later, when the Hamilton Hotel burned down, E.T. Richards told my father that the deeds burnt in the fire. After that, he told Gaius Powell and other people that there were no deeds. Later on, when I was an adult, I asked my father to divide the land and give each of his children a portion of it. My father did not respond to that. There was a building on my father's land where Heron Bay School is located. That building was used as a school for black children. This was before my father's time. That building was donated by our family. It was on our land. There is no proof of permission of how the rest of the land was acquired by government to build Heron Bay School. That property was ours, that being my father's property. Signed, Cynthia Fishington. The foregone statement was recorded by the undersigned at the Dame Lois Brown Evans Building on Court Street, Hamilton, on the 22nd of January, 2021, from Cynthia Bennett Fishington, who is visually impaired. The statement was read over to Mrs. Fishington in the presence of her niece, Judy Tiart. Mrs. Fishington signed the document, which was also witnessed by Judy Tiart. Signed, Carlton Adams.
Thank you.
Just for clarification, Judy Tiart is
My mother.
Judy Tiart is your mother.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now,
This is just a query from one of the commissioners. Did you want to? Just one moment. Council, I have a question from one of the commissioners that is relevant to the vestry named. Could the witness give us the name of the vestry? Which vestry?
This is Southampton Parish Vestry.
The answer is Southampton Parish Vestry.
we can't hear the question.
Is it St. Anne's Vestry or just the Paget Vestry? Do you know if it's St. Anne's specifically? St. Anne's Vestry specifically?
No, it's Southampton Parish Vestry.
It is not. It is Southampton Parish Vestry, for clarification.
Yes.
It's important that the Commission know these things to make sure that they're not conflicted in any way. That's why we, from time to time, will ask questions for clarification early in the evidence so that we don't have any interest, which would be adverse. Thank you very much. You may continue, Council.
Thank you. Now, Mrs. Bennett Fishington, is there anything you would like to add to, anything you'd like to say, or we may proceed at this time? Having had the statement read, is there anything else you'd like to say at this time?
Yes, but at the time she was reading it, it came to my mind and it went out just as it came in. But it's very hard when you think of how hard my father and my brother. It's on my ear, yes.
Yes,
How
go
they-
ahead.
How they actually fought for the land. As a child, I was reminded all the time as to what was going on because one of the government stones, is that what they call them, that where they place them on the ground where the tri roads are?
Yes.
Well, the one that was placed right next to the land and right next to the railroad was always shifted. In other words, it was placed here by, I would say, government people that worked for the government. This side. And I can remember it so clearly because right where that was, the one was placed, should have been placed by government in that area, was 2 trees. And those 2 trees were like right next to it. But when I think back at how they would shift that stone, as well as when they shifted the stakes that were on top of the hill, they shifted that stone almost the same time that they shifted those stakes.
And this is what you had been told by.
No, this is what I had seen, but especially that, because what was done up the hill was told to us. They related it to us. Was my brother, my 2 brothers related it to my mom, and of course, I being there, heard it. But when it came to 2 that was down below the hill in front of the house,
Could you repeat that? When what?
when it came to the stone,
Yes.
it's like a block.
Yes.
If you go up there, it's still up there, right next to the land. And when I actually saw them shift that from that side to that. Not every time, but they did shift it. I did see it at one time. And so that was, I recognized that. Now, the thing that went out of my head when I was listening is the fact that people have always said there's no deeds. But my mom, she witnessed the deeds. And so I actually heard, it was like a PLP statement on the radio. You know how they come on Wednesdays and Fridays? Well, they were dealing with land. And they said, how about the Darrow land? And then someone commented, there's no deeds. But there were deeds. And my mom had witnessed those deeds. And that's how I knew there were deeds, because she told us as children that she had seen those deeds, that E.T. Richards said there no longer was no deeds.
So, are you saying that?
She had seen those deeds. So in other words, there were 2 witnesses to the deeds, my father and my mother.
You are not accepting that the deeds were burnt in a fire. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying to you is, I don't know what happened to the deeds. But I do know before the fire, my mama saw those deeds.
And the
That's-
last person who had the deeds.
Was E.T. Richards. He had them. Apparently, he must have had an office in the hotel, that hotel that burnt down. But there were deeds.
Now, when you mentioned earlier that stones, and you indicated that if we were to attend the homestead now, we would see the stones. When you say persons from the government move the stones, what, in your opinion, was the effect of moving the stones? Did it, the land area, did it make it more? Did it make it less? What was the effect of moving, to your mind, when you made that point?
The stones were put there right in that spot, so that when they cut through the tri-road, it was a straight road going up the hill. In my yard, before they cut that tri-road, we could come outside and we could play, we could skip. My mom used to enjoy coming out and skipping with us girls. And you know how one person would have the rope on one side, rope on the other side, someone would stand there and they'll turn the rope, and of course you skip through and do whatever, like touch the ground or whatever. We always had fun with that. Not only did we do skipping with my mom, but we also played marbles. And it was a yard that you didn't have to fall out of. If you go up there now and see where it was cut, you could see. If you tried to do anything like that, you'd fall off the hill. But, now it's a wall there. But when they took that away, they didn't just take it from my father. They took it from us too, as children, who came out in that yard and played, even with our friends coming there and playing with us. we could do all sorts in that yard without falling off the bank.
So on different days, you're saying men came there who you believe were from the government on different days, and they moved the stones.
Yes, they did.
And by moving the stones, the area that you would have skipped on, or you'd have played on, or played marbles, did that area become smaller, or did it become larger based on the movement of the stone? What was the effect of that?
They took 20 feet from the front of the house, and so of course the yard was smaller.
Okay. Thank you very much. As you see fit, Mrs. Bennett Fishington, you can just indicate and speak. I'm just going to go back to Miss Tiart.
Thank you.
Now, very indulgent. Miss Tiart, your mother, what is her name?
Judy McKees Tiart,
And where is she presently?
in the parking lot.
Parking. I pause, just as I had done just now, Chairman, where I had Mrs. Bennett Fishington indicate that she would have her grandniece read her statement. Judith Tiart, who I'm told by the witnesses in the parking lot, I have not actually seen her. I just need to see her. I know she has signed and produced a statement. Is she able to even come to the door? Okay.
Oh, you're indicating, Counsel, that Judy Tier is on the property, but
She's on the property, but the intention was that her daughter will read the statement.
yes,
But just for the connection, because
Yes.
I have not formally met
Seen
the
her.
person, I just would like that she could even enter the room. Her daughter could identify her, she could identify herself, and then we just continue just for purposes of the exercise. But I will move on until that time.
I believe she may be attending momentarily. If you. Oh yes, all right then. I thought it was. That's right. Continue, Counsel.
I'm told, I'll just wait a few moments. I'm told that she is going to appear. A minute.
Yes, for authenticity and validation of the identity of the witness. I get that. And that's just for the record.
As we wait, Miss Tiartan, forgive me for my pronunciation of your name. You have a PowerPoint presentation which is to be made now on behalf of the claimants.
Yes.
I will. I understand now. Your name is Judith, and your daughter. You wish her to write her. No, don't say. You wish her to write the statement for you, to read your statement for you. Is this your mother, madam?
Yes.
Okay, you may step outside. Step outside. Madam, you have a statement of Judy Tiart
Yes.
dated the 23rd of January 2021,
Yes.
madam, and it is signed, madam.
Yes.
Yes, madam.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Counsel, just for clarification, would you repeat what the exercise just
I'm
carried
sorry.
out?
I'm
for
sorry.
identification, just for the record and
Yes.
for clarity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Judy Tiart had asked that her daughter, Miss Tiart, read the statement on her behalf. What I sought to do was to have Mrs. Tiart identify herself, her daughter identify her as she her daughter is a person who will read on
Thank you
her
very much,
behalf.
Counsel. Just for the record.
Now, the statement is signed, madam.
Yes, sir.
Please go ahead and read from where it says statement of witness.
Statement of witness, statement of Judy McKees Tiart, date of birth, the 12th of July, 1972. Address is 24 Whaling Hill, Southampton, Bermuda. Occupation, employer is Career Development Manager at Workforce Development. This statement consists of 2 pages, each signed by me. It is true to the best of my knowledge and belief that I make it, knowing that if it is tendered in evidence, I shall be liable to prosecution if I have willfully stated in it anything which I know to be false or do not believe to be true. Dated the 23rd day of January, 2021. Signed, Judy M. Tiart, signature witnessed by Carlton Adams. Statement. I am the above named person, and I live at the address given with my 2 daughters. Several months ago, I submitted an application to the Commission of Inquiry into historic land laws on behalf of my family. My mother.
Sorry, just a moment, madam.
Sorry.
Chairman, I just ask that the document before the witness continues any further is tendered and admitted as an exhibit, as exhibit JT1.
Yes, that statement of Judy Tiart of 2 pages will be tendered in evidence as Exhibit JT1.
Thank you. You may continue, madam.
My mother, Marion Lowe, her sisters, Cynthia Fishington, Faith Gilbert, Isabel McMahon, Patricia Elliott, it's a spelling error, and brother James Darrow are all children of George Wellington Darrow. George Wellington Darrow inherited property in Southampton Parish from Emilius Darrow. I was made aware that there was an application to the Land Grab Commission in reference to the same property on behalf of the Darrow family, specifically the descendants of George Darrow, and I wish to advise that the Commission that Raymond Davis does not represent the children of George Darrow, nor has he obtained their consent to submit an application on their behalf. Additionally, I was provided a copy of an affidavit that was included in Raymond's application to the Land Grab Commission. Raymond's affidavit makes reference to the estate of Emilius Darrow. Emilius's property was inherited by George Darrow, my grandfather. Raymond Davis is not a direct descendant of George Darrow. My daughter and I have conducted research, and I have acquired documents which can prove that George Darrow's property was inherited from his father, Emilius Darrow. My daughter Haley and I wish to make a presentation before the Commission using these documents to support our position with the aid of PowerPoint presentation. Raymond Davis does not represent the descendants of George Darrow, and we do not wish him to do so. He is the nephew of George Darrow. The property to which I have been referring to is located in the Riviera Estate, Southampton, and extends to Sunnyside Park, to the South and Middle Road, and so on. I wish to clear something that was said earlier. George Wellington Darrow inherited the land from Emilius Darrow, who inherited the said property from his father, Daniel Davis Darrow. Signed, Judy M. Tiart. The foregoing statement was recorded by the undersigned on Friday, 23rd of January, 2021, at the Dame Lois Brown Evans Building. Signature witness by Carlton Adams.
Thank you, Madam.
Counsel, I might ask what the relevance of that statement to Raymond Davis means to this commission.
Well, the Commission had been advised that the named person, Raymond Davis, that he was on behalf of the claimants intending to present the claim on behalf of the claimants. The claimants are here advising that he's not so authorized, and their assigned statement to that effect has been produced and read by the witness. So in terms of any intention of his to do so, it will not be permitted.
For that clarification.
Thank you. Crave indulgence. Chairman and Commissioners, what I'm going to ask at this time, just going to ask that we could take a short adjournment. There's a administrative matter that we need to attend to. I just ask that it wouldn't require the Commissioners to move, but we just need to ascertain some details. I just ask that for the time that is being done, that the feed, the outside feed, that it could just be paused while we I will advise you.
It wouldn't
when
be
we
an
adjourn.
imposition for us to actually have a slight adjournment. It would not be too much of an imposition for the commissioners.
Okay, so could I just ask the chairman, could just ask the feed just to pause for a minute while we ascertain this matter.
Yes, to the people that are operating the recording equipment, if you would switch it off. Switch it back on for a small matter to be dealt with administratively.